What's going on, family? I'm Angel. This is the Vazquez Report. And for part 5 of this episode, I wanted to talk about a huge story where the FBI has uncovered an illegal gambling ring, including players and coaches and even members of the Mafia. For more on the story, let's hear the FBI Director Cash Patel talk about it himself.
Good morning. Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and Cosa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others.
Players and coaches and even members of the Cosa Nostra, huh? Let's hear what the FBI director unveils when he talks about the facts of this case, or at least a few of them.
But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today.
Wow, so the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, the active head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, and former NBA champion of Detroit Pistons, Chauncey Billups, was part of the illegal gambling ring. Miami Heat player Rozier was also part of the gambling ring. And former NBA player Damon Jones, who was a member also of the Miami Heat and a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, was also involved in the illegal sports betting ring. Let's continue.
Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing.
So this investigation spanned multiple years. 11 states and 30 people were arrested as a result of this illegal gambling ring sting operation. Let's continue to hear the facts of the case with FBI Director Cash Patel.
Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families.
So not only did former NBA players and coaches get taken down, 4 different Mafia families also took a hit that came as a result of the FBI's illegal sports gambling ring operation. Let's continue.
More about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure.
And that's the thing. A lot of people use sports as an escape. And if sports isn't safe, then what is? Even sports is fixed now, too. Sports is rigged. People are fixing games or faking injuries to get over or under bets. And members of the Mafia, 4 different families, in fact, were in on it. Where does it end? Where does it begin? Who knows? How long has this been going on for? Several years, it seems. It's just a lot of questions.
The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
Yikes, man. Tens of millions of dollars. When the FBI comes after you, they must have got you. Several years. They have all this evidence. I'd hate to be the people who got convicted for this shit.
And we could not have done it without our interagency partners that are before us today. The NYPD, HSI, and teams of law enforcement officials from around the country made this day possible. It takes a team to bring this kind of justice, sweeping justice, into the halls of the United States courtrooms, where our brave United States attorney has led this prosecution. It takes courageous prosecutors to stand before you and say, we will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Cosa Nostra.
And that's the main interesting element, isn't it? The fact that 4 different families of the Mafia were involved when it came to this illegal sports gambling ring. Is it surprising? No. This is the stuff you hear about in movies. This is the stuff that you suppose is happening when it comes to the Mafia. But to hear it actually be a thing is another thing entirely. So for it to be brought to light and for NBA to have its hands dirty now, shame on y'all for bringing this shit into the NBA.
And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people for money, to include crypto fraud. This is an operation that showcases to you that under President Trump's administration, there is no room for any type of criminal behavior, be it on the world's largest stage or in the back rooms of tiny parlors where card games are being played.
Damn, crypto fraud too, man. Oh. How many charges are going to come up in this indictment, bro? Wow.
We are proud to stand here today with the men and women of the FBI and this legal team. And to the United States Attorney, I just want to thank you personally for taking the time to display the work that the media is about to hear about today in detail. As I said, it does take courageous prosecutors, but it takes a courageous United States Attorney to bring this case, because we are going to take heat for it. But we don't shy away in this administration.
That's another good thing about the Trump administration and the people that Trump put in place. No matter the celebrity, no matter the stage, no matter how famous or how dangerous, they're willing to go after him. And the fact that they have the balls to go after this investigation and to see NBA players, coaches, and members of the Mafia all get arrested as part of this illegal sports gambling ring speaks volumes on the integrity of the FBI under Cash Patel. Now that we've heard from the FBI Director Cash Patel himself, let's hear from some former All-Stars and Hall of Famers on the inside of the NBA crew. Let's see what they had to say, specifically about how you should know better and how you shouldn't be involved in illegal sports gambling in the first place.
Guys, you feel free to weigh in now, Shaq. You've heard from Shams. You saw the FBI director speaking about this. What do you think?
I know everybody that's at play, and I don't like to sit up here and be hypocritical about certain things. I homeboy gamble, Ernie. You know, bet it. You know, we've been on teams. We played cards. We played spades. We played tonk. But with that being said, every year they would give us forums on what and what not to do. One of those things where if somebody asks you if a certain player is playing, you say no. So all these guys knew what was at stake. And I'm just ashamed that they put themselves and put their family and put the NBA in this position.
That's another part of the story that hasn't really been mentioned. Not only did you involve the NBA, you involved your own family as well. Tarnished your reputation, and now people are going to look at you differently. Let's continue.
We all know the rules. We all know the letter of the law. And it's just unfortunate. Innocent till proven guilty. But usually when the FBI has something, they have you. You know, FBI, I know a lot of people from the FBI, and I've been in many of those investigations. They'll wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but when they come knocking on your door, they have something.
Since we know more about the facts of the case, Shaquille O'Neal is really spot on. This investigation took several years, and when they had the evidence, they arrested everybody. Let's keep going.
And we all know the letter of the law when it comes to gambling and sports gambling. And I don't want to sit up here like I'm some perfect guy. Like every now and then when I go to Vegas, I'll play some craps and I'll play some roulette, but never gambled at anybody's house. Don't know anything about poker, so I don't know what they're talking about when it comes to the Chauncey thing. But I know Chauncey, I know Damon very well, played with Damon, so I don't want to sit up here, but I'm ashamed that those guys would put their families and their careers in jeopardy. There's an old saying in the hood, all money ain't good money. So if you're making $9 million and you're dealing in certain things, like how much more do you?
That's a good one. All money ain't good money. It really isn't. If you're already making $9 million a year as the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, how much more money do you need? Is it worth it? Because now you've been arrested by the FBI, and now you're not going to be a head coach anymore, and now your name is forever tarnished and your reputation is also. So was it worth it? No.
Especially if you know you get caught, you can do jail time, lose your career. You know, put a bad image on yourself or your family or on the NBA. I agree with you, Chuck. They dropped the ball.
100%.
They had this
100% dropped the ball.
And like you never want to have your name involved in that when you know the letter of the law. And Ernie, again, I know for a fact every year they cancel practice and say don't do this and don't do that and don't do that. So all the guys had the information.
Shaquille O'Neal knows. As a former NBA player, he knows. They pushed them aside, canceled practice, and told them, don't do this and don't do that. So they knew what not to do, and they did it anyway. Let's hear Kenny the Jet Smith and his opinion.
Well, it's super unfortunate. One, because we look at players that are involved and the people that are involved. We're surprised because when you have access and you're at the top of your game, so to speak, as a coaching profession, a player, or whatever, you're at the top of the game, you have access to millions and millions of dollars in this league. So it was surprising that they would put themselves in that position, possibly. It is an innocent until proven guilty. I think the other part is we have to realize gambling is an addiction. So the addiction of it is what makes you make illogical decisions.
That's a part that I didn't consider. Gambling is an addiction. And if you have a gambling addiction, you wouldn't necessarily care if you made $9 million a year or not. You would probably just gamble anyway and see if you can scratch that itch. That's an interesting take. Let's keep going.
So not because you make $9 million. There are people who are making, as the FBI director said, there's a man who lost $1.8 million. That means he has a lot of money, so he has an addiction.
I've never been a gambler myself, so I couldn't really sympathize, but losing close to $2 million on any bet sounds crazy. So you must be a gambling addict at that point, because losing that amount of money in any kind of bet sounds insane to me.
To that, those fish that they talk about that they were bringing in. So gambling is an addiction which can make you make illogical decisions regardless of your ethnic background, regardless of your physical background, and regardless of your financial status.
This is the part where Kenny the Jet Smith pisses Charles Barkley off. Let's listen.
Individuals, and last, and I'll let you talk, Chuck. I wish you would,
because you're making me mad right here.
Well, I can make you mad and you can make me mad. I just have my opinion. You're going to have yours. But I also think that because there are people who get speeding tickets doesn't mean everyone in the league speeds. And so don't look at this group of people that's starting to get investigated as the entire league.
The funny thing is, Rozier was already investigated by the league, so they knew about this already. So it's funny how they just totally dropped the ball on that. Let's keep going.
You say the league dropped the ball on the Rozier part of
Yes.
this? Because they had already looked at it and said we didn't have enough, but not on the Chauncey. They didn't drop the ball on
First
Chauncey
of all, these are two
Billups.
different things.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
two different things.
So the league dropped the ball on Rozier, you
Take
say.
Chauncey out the equation.
All right.
And the reason I'm mad at Kenny.
Charles Barkley is about to reveal the reason why he's mad at Kenny. It says, all this has nothing to do with addiction. Check this out.
Man, this ain't got nothing to do with damn gambling addiction. This ain't got nothing to do with addiction. These dudes are stupid.
Why are they stupid?
Under no circumstances can you fix basketball games. Under no circumstances. I love to gamble. The notion, like, Rozier makes $26 million. Him betting, giving people information or taking himself out of games, how much is he gonna benefit taking himself out the game to get unders? Like, he's making $26 million. The notion he gave, how much of these guys he gave a head up, he took himself out of games on prop bets. How much money is he gonna make?
While Charles Barkley basically chalks it up to stupidity, Kenny the Jet Smith says, you're proving my point. Check this out.
If he did that, you're proving my point.
What do you mean? That
means
that's
that
not
it's an
addiction.
illogical
No,
thought process.
no.
If you're making $26 million to try to win 50,000, like that's illogical. So that you're proving my point.
No,
It is
that's
an
not addiction. That's stupidity.
The same reason someone goes and uses drugs when they're in the NBA.
Hey, drugs are addiction. We
So
can
there's no
agree on that.
gambling addiction?
No, yeah, they are gambling addiction.
Well, Charles Barkley flip-flopped real quick, didn't he? So basically, gambling is an addiction. And if you're making $26 million as a player, what the fuck are you doing trying to make like $50,000 or $200,000 on an underbet? It doesn't make any sense unless you're addicted to gambling. That's it for part 6. Thank you for going on the 6-part journey with me. I'm Angel. This is the Vazquez Report. Until next time, peace.